Ready to get the fit body of your dreams? Welcome to the FITBODY Podcast. I'm Julie Laurie, an IFBB fitness pro, certified personal trainer, and nutrition coach. Back in 2004, I created one of the world's first online personal training programs and have helped thousands of women transform their bodies and their lives online ever since. I've been featured in fitness magazines worldwide and even competed on American Ninja Warrior. But my passion is helping women love both how they look and how they feel through balanced workouts and healthy eating. But let's be real, it's information overload out there, and it's hard to know what to do. You need a no-nonsense way to stay motivated and accountable in a world that can feel like it's swirling around you. My mission is to take away the guesswork for highly driven women ready to supercharge their metabolism and get to their personal best. In this segment, I'll be discussing a question that many women face after a tough workout. Should you continue to exercise with sore muscles? We all know exercise is crucial to achieving your fitness goals and to leading a healthy lifestyle. However, it's common to experience muscle soreness after a strenuous workout, and that can make you wonder whether you should push through the pain or take a break. In this episode, I'm going to dive into the science behind muscle soreness and explain why it occurs. I'll discuss the difference between acute muscle soreness and delayed onset muscle soreness, and how you can distinguish between the two. I'm also going to cover why DOMS is more likely to occur when you start a new workout routine or when you're increasing the intensity of your exercise. So, what should you do when you're experiencing muscle soreness? Should you continue to exercise or take a break? I'm going to share tips on how to decrease soreness, get you feeling better faster, that include active recovery techniques like stretching, foam rolling, and low-impact activities like walking and yoga. I'm also going to talk about the importance of nutrition and hydration in that recovery, as well as the benefits of getting enough sleep. Whether you've been exercising for years or you're just getting started on your fitness journey, stay tuned for some valuable insights on how to optimize your workouts and your recovery routine. By understanding how to manage your muscle soreness, you can continue to exercise safely and effectively, and you can achieve your fitness goals, even if your muscles are still sore. Have you ever felt sore after a workout? Goodness knows I have. It's really a common experience for most people, especially if you're new to exercise or if you're really starting to up your workouts and increase the weights that you're using. So what's going on in your muscles? Why are you feeling so sore? Well, when you work out, you're essentially putting stress on your muscles, which causes them to adapt and become stronger over time. That's a good thing. However, if the stress is too great, it can cause tiny tears in the muscle fibers. These tears are what causes that soreness, stiffness, and discomfort. There's two types, really, of muscle soreness. So you have acute muscle soreness and delayed onset muscle soreness. It's often called DOMS, D-O-M-S. So the acute muscle soreness, that's what you typically feel during or immediately after the exercise, and it goes away within a few hours or a day. The delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS on the other hand, that's what sets in the next day, so 24 to 48 hours after you work out. And I hate to tell you this, but it can last for up to a week. So if you've had one of those leg days where you're doing deadlift and squats, and the next day it becomes really difficult to do simple things like sit on the toilet, that is DOMS. That's the delayed onset muscle soreness. So that's caused by more extensive tearing of the muscle fibers, and it's more likely when you are just starting out, but also when you're upping the weights and you're really beginning to push hard with your movements. While it's uncomfortable, it's important to remember that that's a natural part of the muscle building process. Micro tears lead to an inflammation, lead to blood flow coming into that muscle that lead to growth over time. Not a bad thing, but goodness, that soreness can be debilitating. For the good and the bad of it, if your goal is to challenge your muscles and to change your body, then muscle soreness on some level can't be prevented. However, there are ways to lessen the severity and the length of time that you experience that soreness. So let me share with you some of my favorite tips on relieving sore muscles after your workouts. So the first one really is to get moving. Believe it or not, one of the best ways to reduce that muscle soreness is to actually use those muscles again and to keep them moving. You can do this through light cardio or active recovery, which can include things like stretching or foam rolling or yoga. That's one of my favorite ways. Avoid the temptation to sit and be immobile when you feel that muscle soreness. The next thing you need to do is to make sure that you are warming up before your exercise. So an important part of protecting your muscles is to make sure they're primed for use before you really challenge and push. Make time for several minutes of a warm-up before every workout you do. I encourage my online training clients to take 5 minutes on a piece of cardio equipment and warm up their bodies, bring your heart rate up, get your whole body warm before you hit into a really challenging workout. From there, you really need to progress slowly if you're new to exercise or if you're starting a new program. Going from 0 to 60 doesn't do your muscles or your body any favors. Give it time to adapt. That can help limit the severity of your soreness. When you're starting a new workout routine or when you're upping that intensity, just be sure that you're doing it slowly over the course of several days or weeks. If you're experiencing that soreness afterwards, then what you can do too is soak in an Epsom salt bath. That's one of my favorite ways to not only de-stress, but to relax, and relaxes your muscles, and it's going to take away some of the pain. Speaking of pain, occasionally adding in something like ibuprofen or a pain reliever if you're really experiencing a lot of discomfort can help. So it's not going to speed up the healing process, but it can take away some of the discomfort associated with it. From there, we really want to make time for recovery. If you're not giving your muscles adequate time to rest and repair between your workouts, they're going to become overworked, and that's going to lead to even more intense soreness. Be sure you're building in rest days where you focus on active recovery. More generally, don't forget that actual rest, like sleep and hydration, are important in recovery too. Finally, I want you to try a split day routine. If you exercise every day, consider splitting your workouts by muscle group. This is one of the things that I do with my online training clients. If you're exercising 5 or 6 times a week for 45 minutes at a time, say, that's a lot of strain and stress on your body and on your muscles. You wouldn't want to go back to back to back with the same muscle groups over and over. So I like to take and split. So maybe we'll do upper body one day and lower body the next, and then abs the third day. Maybe we'll pop in cardio in between. Bottom line is, if there's a muscle group that's overly sore, you want to make sure that you've given that adequate rest, and I wouldn't hit that muscle group again hard until your soreness has decreased. So to answer the question, should you work out when your muscles are still sore? The answer is actually yes. You can work out when your muscles are sore. But how do we know what's too sore? So I mentioned earlier that movement is actually a great way to help relieve muscle soreness. So you don't really need to skip your workouts just because you're sore. In fact, light exercise is actually going to help. It's going to get your blood flowing, and it's going to reduce your symptoms in many cases. But what about when you feel too sore? Is there even such a thing? You know, typical muscle soreness is going to peak around day 3 and starts to diminish after that. If your soreness persists beyond 3 days, it means you overdid it. You pushed your muscles a little too hard. But prolonged muscle soreness can also be a sign of injury. And of course, the most important thing to me is that you stay safe through this whole process. If your soreness persists beyond 3 days, if it's accompanied by pain that's sharp or limits your range of motion or affects the way that you walk, then that's going to require an evaluation by a doctor. Additionally, you want to look out for swelling and bruising, or if there's a pain that accompanies a very specific movement or during your exercise. Those are things that tell us that you could have an injury instead of just delayed onset muscle soreness. Okay, so is it ever safe to keep exercising through the pain? Well, yes and no. We know that moving and being active is going to be better for that soreness than being sedentary. That doesn't just apply for your overall health. It really matters for healing and for your muscle recovery. So if you feel like this is typical muscle soreness and you start to see a decrease in it with your movement, then you're on the right path. If you start working out and your pain increases, or if you notice that there's a specific movement that's causing greater pain, then it's time to step back and wait until that soreness is gone. The bottom line is that you really have to listen to your body through all of this. If something truly feels painful or uncomfortable and seems to go beyond soreness, get it checked out. What you don't want is to push through the pain to the point where you turn something small into a more serious issue. Okay, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the FITBODY Podcast. I'll be back next time to share more fitness tips and information with you. Thank you for joining me on the FITBODY Podcast. Looking forward to sharing more health and fitness information with you soon. Want more information about my online personal training for women or the world's best supplements and protein powder? Check out fitbody.com for more info.